Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to A&R News. We got a very interesting topic to get into. My friend Chris is here. Chris, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
What is our topic, Chris? What are we going to be? Well, the thumbnail probably tells it, but what
Yeah.
exactly are we doing here?
So there was a new Godzilla. Now I don't even know how to say the title of this name. Is it Godzilla Times Kong or is it Godzilla X Kong? And anyways, it's
Godzilla
Godzilla.
Twitter friend X Kong.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Is a
He
trailer that
X's
just
him. He just
dropped.
X's him.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, this is like the everything that's in the MonsterVerse. We had 2014 Godzilla, Godzilla Legacy of Monsters, I believe it's called. King Skull. I'm getting them all wrong. King Skull Island. Is
Skull
that what
Island.
it's
Yeah.
called? Skull Island, and then obviously Godzilla versus Kong, and now we have this TV show Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So this is the next sequel. So I think I'm kind of wondering, and even it's kind of Godzilla mania right now. It kind of feels like, right? Even with Godzilla minus one, which I know is in a different universe. It's not the same as these, but that's in the theaters right now. On Apple, we have Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and now they dropped this new Godzilla X Kong. So why do you think they're? Do you think it's a smart idea to drop this now, or why are they bringing everything on right now?
It's just so weird to see all this Godzilla all at once, right? Like, I don't know, maybe there's some licensing turnovers coming up, or they had to do these companies that had the licensing had to do these movies, because if they didn't, it would revert back to somebody else. Because we have that with Sony and Marvel, the Spider-Man licensing. If they don't make Spider-Man related content a certain period, that licensing gets reverted back to Marvel. So they have to keep pumping out a Spider-Man related movies or TV shows to keep that license going. That's part of the deal. So I'm
Right,
wondering something like
right.
that. I don't know, but it's just so weird to see three separate Godzilla content coming out. I mean, one of them is coming out later on, but the other two are dropped right now. Right?
Yeah,
Godzilla minus one has been getting fantastic reviews across the board. People are giving it 100%, 10 out of 10, 5 stars, all that stuff. I have yet to see it. I am gonna trickle my way into a theater very soon to see it, because if it's that good, I need to see it on the big screen, right?
yeah, for sure,
Especially with the
for sure.
sound and everything in the theater has. So I need to
Yeah.
go check it out. Monarch, we talk about it on our popcorn chicken segment on Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. We've been discussing that episodically, and it's been pretty good. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not been great for me personally, but it's been good.
yeah,
It's been good.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I'm the
yeah,
same. I've liked the show so far. I'm not a huge fan of the this whole MonsterVerse. My kids are, but actually, I remember we went. I took them. It was actually during the pandemic that I think Godzilla versus Kong was one of the big, like sort of return to the theater. It was one of the big, films
mhm.
that came out during the pandemic, and I remember going to see it, and I enjoyed it and everything. But I do like Monarchs just because there are more stories going on with the people involved, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what what the show is doing, and I don't know if the movies have done that so much because I can't even tell you who the characters are in any of these movies, and I know that. I think for this new one, there are a couple people that are returning from Godzilla versus Kong, but I mean, there was Millie Bobby Brown in one of them. There was what's his name who plays Walter White in Breaking Bad. He was in the first one,
Brian
and none of
Caston.
these. Bryan Cranston, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know. Like again, when I look at this trailer, Godzilla X Kong or Times Kong, whatever it's called, there's nothing really that interesting there that I see. It kind of looks very similar to Godzilla versus Kong, and Godzilla versus Kong was, to anyone who hasn't seen this, I'm not trying to spoil it, but basically they fight and then they team up at the end to destroy Mecha Godzilla, right? So this one just looks like there's another villain. There's a bigger ape coming, and they got a looks from the voiceover. Somebody says, Kong won't be alone, and then they show Godzilla, and obviously they're gonna have to team up to fight this other ape. So my question is, why like it just if they're just kind of remaking it, is it just to get people into theaters to watch these big monsters fight each other, and it's all about the visual effects? Where Monarch is more about the story, and we haven't even seen, we're only halfway through the series of Monarch, but we actually haven't seen monsters fight each other yet in the series. We've only seen some monsters, but it is more about the personal stories. So I don't. For me, this doesn't really intrigue me. Like, oh, I can't wait until this movie comes out. God, Godzilla X Kong and stuff like that. And here's the other question: did you notice that Godzilla is like purple in this trailer?
I thought it was a female Godzilla.
Yeah,
Put a chick in it,
yeah,
right?
right.
South Park. They
Is this
South
like an
Park it.
upgrade? He's got an upgrade or something going on? I don't understand that.
I just think this movie, the trailer that was dropped, based on the trailer, this movie looks ridiculous. It is. It's like they
Yeah,
borrowed some the Planet of the Apes idea and said, you know
mm,
what? How can we get that in there? Because that's also coming out too, right?
right.
And it feels like they're taking a piece out of their pie and saying, you know, we're gonna throw it in here and take some of that money away from you. We're gonna do it 10 times bigger. Our apes are like, 10 stories tall, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it looks ridiculous. The worst part of it all was when I see Godzilla and King Kong doing the marathon, and I'm just like, that's not Godzilla. He doesn't move that fast. Now,
yeah,
people were quickly
yeah,
to point out the old Godzilla movies where he goes sideways and flies in the air, but that's because the effects sucked and they didn't know what to
yeah.
do, right?
Well, that's when it was actually a person in the costume, right? And those people could run, but you're right. I found that very off-putting as well. When you see them at the end, it's like first of all, you're like, who's chasing who? Are they running away from something? It looks like they're running away from something, an explosion or something. But I'm like, is Godzilla supposed to move like that? Like, I don't even think
No,
physically he can move like that. But
he's huge. He's heavy.
yeah,
How is he going to move that way?
especially with
Kong, I
his
see.
massive, yeah,
Kong's agile, right?
with his massive tail, he shouldn't actually be able to run like that.
No, and
But
Godzilla's one thing is he just powers up and shoots out radiation and he's done. He goes back into the water, right? He's not a
yeah,
guy that goes around and runs and flies in the air and just kicks in the air and knocks down opponents. That's not how he fights. It's never been like that. So it's just ridiculous to see this.
yeah,
The other thing, I never liked the other one before this one. I never liked it because there's too much humans in there. When you have too many humans in there, it really takes away from the monsters. I felt that I didn't need to see what's her name, Billy, Bobby, whatever her
mm,
name is, Bobby
yeah,
Brown. I didn't
yeah,
care for her. I didn't care for any of the actors in there. I'm like, I don't need to see you guys. I little pans of humans. That's all. I need to see armies. I need to see people running around the streets scared out of their minds. That's all I need to see in the human side of things. You can drop here and there what's happening and what's gonna happen, those kind of things. But I don't need. They had like a van that they got into, and they were driving around with satellite dish on top. What is that gonna do? The
yeah,
monsters don't care. They'll squish you in 2 seconds, right?
yeah,
So I just need to see chaos. And I mean, one of the things is they will make money on this, I think, and not a huge amount, but they will make money because people go in to see these explosive, destructive types of action-based movies in the summer. It's something to do. I know my kids are going to want to go see it just because of the sheer destruction it's going to have. But yeah, the story looks just weird, and it's almost like they're doing the same thing they did with Jurassic Park, where they squeeze too much out of it and it
mm,
becomes stale and it becomes boring and it just gets ruined. Right now, nobody wants to see another Jurassic Park movie. It's
yeah,
been dried. That well is dried now. Nobody wants to
yeah,
see it anymore. And I think that's the route they're doing here as well, right?
yeah. I find it happens with a lot of these projects now. But also in this trailer, there's a scene where we see King Kong, and you think it's this massive ape, but then it's like a little young ape. Is that supposed to be his son, do you think? Because there was a story of
Well, that
Son of
whole scene
Kong
was
at
so
one
weird
point.
too because I talked about it with D in our A&R Weekly show, which is on Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Go check us out there as well. I just said, how is that even possible? Like, it's not even shadows don't work that way. It's
Yeah, I know.
they're in an angle. The shadows it gets smaller, not directly in front of you.
You'd have to actually have someone with a light below him and then bring it up like that
Yeah,
because the
you're a
shadow,
camera
you're
guy.
right.
You know that shadows don't work that way.
The shadow is on like you see the shadow in the fog and it's really massive and you think it's like this massive
Yeah,
ape and then it
directly. Yeah,
gets smaller and smaller and smaller and then it's like this yeah whoever it is if it's his son or
nobody
not but
knows if
yeah
that's his son or maybe that's the bad guy's son because he is reddish, right? And we see the
yeah
bad guy show in
right
the trailer.
right
We don't know. Like it's I don't know
also
what's going on here.
Godzilla's got some sort of
Yeah,
like
he's got
brace on
Thanos'
or something
gauntlet now, right? So
yeah
maybe they're collecting the Infinity Stones, maybe
and
together.
he has Thor's
Yeah,
axe
he's got the axe. It comes back to him. I mean, maybe Godzilla will be worthy enough to pick it up now. So
maybe
and then the pink crystal like I don't know what's
Yeah,
that about. Did he get an upgrade? Like I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, maybe
Um,
his upgrade makes him run now. Maybe that's what it is.
there you go. Supercharges him, right? Maybe it's to sell toys because I know I don't collect them, but Godzilla toys always do well. They
Right.
really up the resale value for some of the Godzilla stuff is ridiculous. So maybe it's to sell merchandise. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
find this whole thing ridiculous. I think the TV show and the minus right now is probably gonna be better than this movie that's gonna drop. I
For
can
sure.
say that with really, really good confidence that it's gonna be better. This movie is just like a Michael Bay movie, lots of explosions and no substance. Right? So
So, so this is maybe why they dropped this trailer now, then, to say, you know what, people are
well, ride the
liking
hype.
Monarch.
Ride the
Yeah,
hype, right?
ride the hype because then it doesn't matter how bad the film is. It's just
Exactly.
get
Hey, it's
people in the
another one you
seats.
can get to consume. Come on in, grab some
Yeah,
popcorn, turn off the brain.
yeah,
And you know what? I'm fine with it because maybe this is what Hollywood needs. Maybe they need this more of this, right?
yeah.
Destruction. They need this because we go to the movies for the big sound and the big picture, right? I mean,
Yeah.
otherwise, you just watch it at home.
They need to make a full Godzilla or King Kong movie where you don't see any monsters and people just talk about the destruction and how they live in these cities now that have been
No, what you should
destroyed.
just have is State Farm insurance guy just getting mad,
Yeah, yeah, that's
just going,
true.
"God damn Godzilla, you're
Yeah,
costing our company millions."
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Because there's got to be complete cities that are gone, right? Like, how do you rebuild from that? You don't.
well, I
Anyways,
want to see -1 because, or is it minus or -1?
uh, minus is it? Yeah,
Godzilla minus, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
God, all right. Sorry, no, I
Well,
think
you
it's
look
mon.
that up because
I'll
we're
look that
always
up.
on top of things.
Yeah. Well, neither of us have
We
seen it, but I'm
always
pretty sure
remember
it's minus
people's
one.
names and movies and years. Fact checking is what we do best.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not.
minus one.
There you go. So I'm wondering, like, because I heard that he absolutely obliterates Tokyo,
Right.
like to the point. What's really good about this movie is it shows it's right after the World War II. So Japan is already in shambles, or Tokyo and the rest of Japan is in shambles. And then this guy walks in and makes it even worse, right? Whatever buildings were standing up, this guy went and smashed all of them. So you see people living in rubble, right? And trying to cope with life. And that is awesome because you get
Yeah.
to see human side of things and you get to see the monster side of things of what's going on, but it's not humans where they're chasing in a minivan or having all this tech and super gadgets and jokes being punched in. This is realistic. This is
Hmm.
seriousness of a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
And maybe this new movie that's going to come out in the summer, they're like, hey, you got to see the seriousness of Godzilla. Let's have the fun side of Godzilla, where it's
Yeah.
just nonsense and chaos. I'm okay with it. I guess we can jump into that. I'm not gonna rate it high just because it's silly
Yeah.
and goofy, but it's just
Yeah.
one of those movies. I've watched lots of movies that are horrible in terms of script, but they're a blast because of the action they pack in there, right?
And you know what? Kids love it. Like my kids
Yeah,
loved Godzilla
yeah.
versus Kong. So it is coming out as of now. They've said it's coming out in April. So it's not actually a summer movie. It's
That's
an
an
earlier.
odd time to bring out a movie, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about summer movies, right? Summer movies are not summer anymore. They push it back and push it back,
I
and
wonder if this was supposed to come out in December
maybe,
because of
maybe
the
originally.
strike. I think they pushed it 4 months because a lot
Yeah.
of movies were supposed to come out in December.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters was supposed to come out in December,
Yeah.
and that
So
got pushed.
it was tough, Godzilla and King Kong on strike. Like,
They're hanging by the water cooler with the rest of the
yeah, yeah,
with the rest of the animals, monsters. When are we
yeah.
gonna get this strike over with? I don't know, Bob.
It's like King Kong. What have you been? King Kong says to Godzilla, "What have you been drinking, man? You're all purple now.
Yeah,
Like, God,
it's
got to get back to
Mountain Dew.
work."
Mountain Dew is that
Yeah.
toxic enough?
Oh, I bet you a Mountain Dew. Watch Mountain Dew like
Oh,
jump all over this.
hey, if they do that before I said it first, so if you guys have to give
Yes.
me credit, Mountain Dew, send
Yeah.
over a
Exactly.
pallet full of the pig stuff to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's strange, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll probably go check it out and see, give our reviews on it, but it won't be
For
high, I
sure.
think.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, if you guys liked listening to this kind of stuff where we talk about specific topics throughout a week, we will drop it every week, once a week, twice a week. Whenever
Yeah.
there's news that's dropping,
Yeah.
we'll get on here,
Exactly.
give our take on it for a few minutes. if you like that, support us by subscribing and hitting the like button and hitting the notification button, because whenever we drop one of these videos, you'll be notified right away. And if you are subscribed to us, thank you very much. We will catch you on the next news.
See you later, guys.
Bye.